Hello and welcome to Superpower Broadcasting. I'm your host, Kevin Castley. Thank you for tuning in this evening. This evening, we're going to be talking about Angela Merkel's successor to the leadership of the CDU, the Christian Democratic Union, and Germany. That is, of course, this isolationist pigeon, this worshiper of dictators and terrorists and thugs, Armin Laschet. And with that, we're going to actually be joined this evening from Germany by the creator of the epic and based thumbnail for this video. That's, of course, Timothy Spin, as well as an awesome patron of the channel. He was the patron of the channel that got us past $100 a month so we could do the double content each day. A base dude. Now he's gonna come on, but here's the thing about Timothy here. I want you to go follow him over on Twitter at Timothy Spin, and you gotta check out his memes, man. This guy's on fire. So with that, we are joined by Timothy. How's it going tonight?
Yeah, hello. Good morning here from Germany, and yeah, it's good to be back on.
Yeah, no, it's awesome to have you here. What I really appreciate is just how quickly you crafted the thumbnail for this video, because I was at work and I'm like, look, because you sent me the stuff on Laschet and I was like, oh man, this guy is basically German Tulsi. We talk about how like Moon Jae-in is Korean Tulsi, and obviously Tulsi's Tulsi. Well, she's Syrian Tulsi, she's Russian Tulsi. She's not American, but then you've got this guy Laschet, and I was looking into it and I'm like, oh man, I was celebrating how Tulsi Gabbard was done just the other day, and I'm like, crap, now it's as if Tulsi was the leader. That's embarrassing, man. This guy is a clown of epic proportions. And I said to you, I'm like, look, I'm at work, I want to talk about him later, but I'll be going live in a few hours. If you got the time or anything, I'd appreciate if you could make like just a thumbnail of him looking like a total brainlet and falling in love with Putin and Erdogan. Boom, there it is. Like your craft work within just a limited short period of time, truly remarkable. I mean, I want everybody to appreciate. Yeah, Arthur's here. He's the one who does the graphics for this channel. He's the one who did that
epic graphics, by the way.
You know, the graphics are based. Based. I mean, I do a lot of the memes and everything, but he does the actual channel graphics, a lot of the introductions, the outros and stuff. He made an amazingly epic intro that I used in my video today, in which Nazbol, Uncle Thomas, that we debated just a couple of weeks ago, he said that he believes that this channel is the future and that his side is going to lose out in the history of the internet. And I played it, and then I used Arthur's 30-second intro, where it's the Castle Bravo test from 1952, and overlaid is just this epic orchestral music, and it zooms out to Superpower Broadcasting. You're like, here we go, dude. Arthur's here, and Arthur, he considers you a meme brother, because you guys are both on the memes. So
yeah. That's
it's awesome, man. Anyway, I'll give you the floor to. I've got some graphics here to just kind of highlight and go over like the information on this guy, but I think it might be valuable to go to you to kind of give the audience a brief overview of who this guy is. Then I'll go through the tweets, and then you can discuss in a bit more detail, because most of the audience here is in America, right? So
yeah, sure. So we got so Merkel declared that she won't run for the next election, and so we got infight in the party of who is going to be the next chancellor, basically, because most probably it's going to be a coalition of CDU and the Green Party. So therefore, we had to choose a successor for her, and so we had three candidates. The one that I preferred, who, of course, we don't have hawkish candidates. Okay, it's Germany. We have to be realistic. The one that I liked was more like perceived as conservative, but not really. But this was Merz, and the other one was Norbert Röttgen, who can be described as an international realist. And the third one was Armin Laschet, who is Prime Minister of the federal state of North Rhine-Westphalia, I think it's in English.
Yeah, that's
And,
right. I always get a kick out of that because it's like the Treaty of Westphalia that I always make fun
exactly.
of. And
Yeah, that's where I live.
I know it's an actual area that like normal people, good people live in, but every time I hear Westphalia, the region, I immediately think of Kremlin Kyle and Tulsi Gabbard. You know, it's like even though they're not German or anything, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's like like if I lived in the province of Tulsi, like if you would think of Tulsi, right?
And I live in North Rhine-Westphalia, so and all three candidates are also from the region. So yeah, but I don't want to get into this. So basically, Armin Laschet was like the establishment candidate because he wasn't going in there to challenge the heritage of Angela Merkel, basically. But as we will see later, he's quite radical compared to Angela Merkel regarding foreign policy. You know,
Oh, for sure. I mean, we make fun of on this show for like over a year now, Angela Merkel's weakness on Putin and whatnot. But this guy, it's not even so much that he's weak per se. He's just in love. Like he's on their side. It's just embarrassing. And you know what's unfortunate about it is, you know, maybe you could kind of explain to the viewers a little bit about this to give us an insight into the German political discourse. But at least in North America, there's been a tradition that even if you're a liberal, even if you don't really like conservatism, there is at least an acknowledgement that the conservatives were more appealing to patriotism and the national interest. Whereas that's kind of stopped with Trump a little bit in the United States. But then to see somebody like this, specifically in a conservative center-right party, this is the kind of thing that you would either expect from the extremely far right, where they're basically Nazis, or from the really far hippie left or tanky left. This isn't something that you would expect from a basically, you know, center-right Christian conservative party. You wouldn't necessarily expect to see this kind of adoration of the Muslim Brotherhood, Vladimir Putin, obviously Recep Tayyip Erdogan. This is the kind of stuff. It's like when we think of like conservative leaders in North America, you think of people like Brian Mulroney. You think of people like, for example, Ronald Reagan. You think of people such as George H.W. Bush. They were never cozy with any of these kinds of people. But then you look at this and you're like, you understand he beat out two other candidates for the leadership there. So he won. This was a winning ticket. This was a winning platform. That's amazing, you know.
And side note for the winning of his is that the base of the party actually voted like 60% in favor of the more conservative candidate, but the delegates who actually decided who gets to be the candidate are all in the establishment, so they voted for Armin Laschet. So,
Wait, so it was like that whole the DNC rigged it against Bernie meme, except for real.
Yeah, exactly. Except for real.
Like Timothy, I don't know if you remember, but do you remember the whole controversy back in 2015, 2016 when the allegation was that the super delegates were going to rig it against Bernie? and I remember how everybody was saying like, look, Bernie would have won. Bernie would have won if it wasn't for my super delegates. And it was kind of a big meme because the super delegates didn't really have that much influence. But in this case, you got 60% of people voting for Merz, if I recall. That he was running against?
They did polling on the base, but the base doesn't decide who gets the candidate. Only the delegates decide who becomes the candidate.
Okay, but it has Democratic in the party name.
Yes,
that's like DPRK, man. It's like 100% people voted for Kim. It's like, wow. So 60% voted for somebody else. So wait. I get that there were three candidates running, so you could still win a plurality with 40%. But did he even get a plurality, or did they just?
So you have to get 50% or plus in order to get elected. Okay. So they, after the third candidate got out because he wasn't going to win anyway, they had to go into a second election, and then the people who were actually voting for the third place switched over to Armin Laschet, and so he did win. In the first round, the more conservative candidate won.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get that it's Germany specifically. I mean, we're not talking about you want a leader like Bush or Thatcher who's going to go in there and like bomb ISIS and stuff like that. Like we get it, but you don't have to have a big military to at least understand that you probably shouldn't be cozy with Putin and Erdogan and the Muslim Brotherhood and all this other stuff. It's like you don't. Not having a big military is not an excuse for falling in love with fascist dictators.
Exactly.
So, I mean, because you could at least have somebody there who's going to say, yeah, we're not going to bomb people, but we're also not going to trade with these people. This is an embarrassment. I mean, like we made fun of how bad Merkel was, but we'll get to the tweets now. We'll get to the tweets because these are truly amazing.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that this German journalist put out this thread in English so others can see how devastating this is. It's embarrassing.
So this is by Julian Ropke. Wait, how do you pronounce this?
Julian Röpke.
Oh, Julian Ropke. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was Julian or Julian, but yeah, Julian Ropke says, breaking. Extremely good news for Russia, China, and he's not talking about the real China there. He ain't talking about Taiwan. Yes. Nord Stream 2, because there's only one China. Nord Stream 2 and the Assad regime. Armin Laschet was elected new leader of the Christian Democratic Union and is likely to become Germany's next chancellor later this year. And yes, with him as, I like how he adds this part. And yes, with him as a leader, like this is the kind of thing that I would write. Germany, Europe, and the West are screwed. This is a blue check mark. This is a verified dude on Twitter.
Yeah, that's from the
He sounds like Hawking right there.
He is actually because he's from the Bild-Zeitung. So Axel Springer is like the most what you can describe as somewhat neoconservative newspaper, and it's, by the way, the biggest newspaper in Germany.
Wait, that's amazing. So the biggest paper in Germany is actually,
but it's also the most hated.
Well, that sounds base, because like that's going to be this channel. Like in 20 years, this is going to be one of the biggest political channels on YouTube, where we're also probably going to have the highest dislike ratio anywhere on YouTube, because you got the brainlet brigades. Wait, so you guys might actually have a bigger neoconservative presence in media than in even in America. I mean, the biggest in America that goes is like the Bulwark. You used to have the Weekly Standard, for example, but it doesn't really go that much further. I mean, the New York Times. I know the brainlet brigades are going to say, yeah, but what about MSNBC? Because actually, that's the wrong me. I didn't mean to click on that. That's funny though. He got arrested, by the way.
Yeah, finally.
By the way, for those wondering if this is the same Timothy spin, yes, he made this. That video was pretty big. We got over 500 views. Lots of Kremlin Kyle haters, or haters of mine, lovers of Kremlin Kyle. Timothy also made this. This one's based. That is brilliant right there. And if I recall correctly, you also did this one.
That's correct. Yeah.
So you. Oh my God, you're one of the most talented people in the hot community, like in general. I mean, your meme skills are on fleek, dude. Wow. Okay, so we'll get back to the tweets. So Europe and the West are screwed. And so there he is right there. There he is with Sergei Lavrov.
Oh, yeah. This is epic. So you got Sergei Lavrov, foreign minister of Russia. The other one is a former ambassador from China. And the third one is, of course, our dear former Chancellor, Gerhard Schröder.
That's Schröder. That's the guy. Okay. So I've got a question for you. I'm not sure. I think Schröder's become such a meme now, like he's basically synonymous with Russian simp. Like that's what I think of when I think of that name. But I got a question then. Who's a bigger simp for Putin? Is it going to be Laschet or Schröder?
That's so we have a word for this. It's called Schröderization. So
because you guys named a political system after his personal simping for Russia. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's could be likely that he afterwards he maybe become chancellor. He will be lobbyist for Gazprom or something like this.
Yeah, but I love how it's not just Schröderism or whatnot. It's actually ization. It's actually the process through which you turn the country into a simp for Russia. Even more epic in that sense that term exists, because in America, if you came up with that as a term to say describe Trump and his approachment to Russia, people would say Russiagate, you're a troll, you're a bot, you're an NPC. They would reject it. It would just be laughed at. People would say you're a McCarthyist, you're a Red Scare, all this kind of stuff. Whereas in Germany, by the sounds of it, people are smart enough to recognize that this guy was a hack for Russia. So at least there's that. So oh. We'll get to the next tweet. Now, these parts are translated. Among the fatal Laschet, contacts are also found. Let's see. So, did the new one, CDU chairwoman 2015 with MG representative? So, is MG referring to German for Muslim Brotherhood, or what's
exactly?
Okay, just wanted to.
No. It's Milli-Gerish. It's a different Islamic brand, but it's similar. So yeah, it's also under intelligence service for protection of the constitution. Survives. So it's very dangerous. This Islamic group. Yeah, and hardly anti-Semitic, and
In Bremen, Matt, MG is an Islamist, anti-democratic, and anti-Semitic organization that the Office for the Protection of the Constitution is launching. Yeah. And that's him there just being swaggy with the bros. And then we got Armin Laschet and his dubious quote-unquote acquaintances. Oh, this will be fun. Here he introduces Steinmeier to the family of Issam al-Attar, co-founder of the Islamic Center Action. Oh, that's a city, right?
Yes.
Wait, how do you pronounce that? Is it Action? Aachen. Okay. On March 12th, 2018. Because of its proximity to the Islamist Muslim Brotherhood, the IZA was in the sights of the that's North Rhine Westphalia.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah. Constitution protection. Yeah, that's embarrassing. So had Laschet close ties to the Christian Democratic Union. Mansefket Avci takes part in events organized by the Turkish. And this is the part that's probably the most embarrassing.
Yes,
the right-wing extremist BBP, and has himself photographed in front of a neo-fascist. He was allowed to run for local elections anyway, and is a city councilor in Duisburg. But you also had mentioned that he hangs out with dudes that are buddies with the Grey Wolves, that are like they do videos, like they will assassinate people giving speeches on video and stuff. Like you literally see Grey Wolves assassination. There's a guy who goes in and just literally walks up on the stage, shoots a politician dead, and this is on video. You can watch it, and he like puts up his hand in the air and like shouts like what glory to Turkey or whatever. I mean, Turkish
the BBP is the party of the Grey Wolves, by the way.
Oh, that's their actual formal party. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay. There we go.
And so we have to point out that in North Rhine-Westphalia we have a large Turkish population, and normally the Turkish population tends to vote for the Social Democrats. So in order to get the votes in North Rhine-Westphalia, Armin Laschet a bit kowtowed to the extremists in the Turkish immigrant families. So this might be a reason for the stunt.
Yikes. Yeah. I mean, Trudeau, our prime minister in Canada, he did similar kinds of stuff over, like, especially in Toronto and whatnot. I mean, there's this embarrassing video of him going to one of the mosques and commenting on how it was like unique and valid and stuff, how the women or the sisters were kept separate from the brothers. And yet in mainstream Canadian media, he's all out there like trying to say how everybody should be feminists and stuff. And I'm like, dude, we literally just saw you in the mosque celebrate the segregation of men and women. What about this is feminist? But that's Trudeau. And of course, he went out of his way to court people in the Muslim Brotherhood and whatnot. I mean, now the problem in Canada is that the Conservative Party as well has, at least Aaron O'Toole, has contacts in the Muslim Brotherhood. So that's unfortunate that we don't really have a real opposition. This isn't just a problem in Germany, but I was curious to talk a little bit more about that paper that you mentioned, because when you say neoconservative, you mean like actual neoconservative, not just like, oh, neocons equals imperialisms or neocons equals war, loves war. That's what Tulsi thinks. Like if you have neo in the name, it means war.
So they editor-in-chief, for example, got a big American flag over his desk and so stuff like this, and always encouraging if, for example, USA goes to strike someone, encourages it. So yeah, it's.
Oh, so he actually supports the wars.
Yes,
so they are. Oh man, they got to be spooking the brainlet brigades over there big time. I mean, because that's the thing. There isn't really much of a celebratory or cheerleading sort of force in the media in North America right now. I mean, like you could see Fox News, for example, when Trump was considering striking Iran. Tucker Carlson, everybody over there was like, don't do it, war bad, and stuff. Whereas here, that's like, oh, that'd be based.
But they have to be subtle, it's still in Germany, so they have to focus on the things that, guessing from Assad or something. But basically they're saying we have to do something, and it's implied.
Like, here's the thing that's great about this channel is that I don't really have to be subtle. I can just straight up come out here and say, yeah, I'm a neocon cool and shit. But I will still tell things. Like, people say to me, it's like, yeah, but like your argument is weak about the gassing, because like if it turns out that he didn't gas the kids, then your argument is wrong or whatever. And I'm like, look, even if he didn't gas anybody, which we know he did, but even if he didn't, he still butchered a huge swath of the country. But what I think there's value in focusing on that specific attack, even though it didn't kill that many people compared to how many people he's actually slaughtered. I think the reason why it's important to highlight that one is because that's the one that pulls up people's emotions the most. That's the one that could get them to actually change their mind the most. Because if you tell them, oh, he's killed 200 to 500,000 people and forced 8 million to flee, that's just a statistic, bro. And like, me, he's fighting American imperialism. May those 200,000 civilians were just ISIS and stuff. But if you say, hey, look, he gassed kids, and here's the pictures of it, and here's the video of it, that tugs at people's heartstrings. And I think that in that sense, like, we can have an honest conversation, everything here, about how at the end of the day, it doesn't even really matter. He had to go either way. But for most people, that's what it took to get them to realize that he had to go. And if that's what it takes, then we got to focus on that story, right? Yeah. So, because it's about getting the agenda through. So,
do you get the thread from Julian Repke on? Because there's so much more in there.
I only had the 4 tweets brought up, but I can pull up more right now.
Oh boy, it's embarrassing. If you go through the whole thread, it's insane what he's saying. It will blow your mind.
We are going to bring it up tonight. If you got the time, we can actually go through all of this. This is like the fact that this guy very well could be the leader of Germany this year. Yikes. So, and speaking on the gas issue, because he goes in and actually talks about the actual attack that Bashar the Butcher did in Syria with chemical weapons. So I'll just save some more of these. I'll have to clear out some more memes to make space for them. I can bring those back later. So let's see here. Actually, one of these ones is, here we go. Yeah, so I'll just pull these up. Feel free to have the floor and speak with the audience and stuff while I pull up the rest of this thread.
Okay. Yeah, so we will later see some of the gassing of the children, which we talked about. And also, one of the tweets we're going to see of him is so disgusting, so vile, because he's, we had a terrorist attack in Germany called Breitscheidplatz attack, where this whole meme started from the truck of peace, where a guy drove truck over a Christmas market and killed several people. And he's going to shift blame for this terror attack back on basically the US. It's so violent.
Yeah, that's right. There's so much about this guy. This is the kind of stuff that, I mean, it sounds almost fake,
Yeah.
Like, so we're going to bring up the rest of these tweets.
Another problem, for example, is for Russia doesn't even need to meddle in the election. We have Social Democrats who are now trying to build. Oh man, I have to do a story about this. We have here Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which is nearly done, but the prime minister of that federal state where the end is coming to from the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, she made a deal with the Russians where they basically pay her for fulfilling the build, and oh my god, she calls it for Climate Act. It's an institution for climate change. It's so ironic to complete a pipeline under the disguise of green energy. So yeah, so either way, we have Social Democrats, we have Christ Democratic Union, and they are all under the pay of Russia. So basically, they don't have to meddle in the election. They got the influence anyway.
Yikes!
Yeah.
Yikes! I got the rest of this thread up here, so we'll continue. This is Yulian Rutka. When the Assad regime gassed 1,300 humans to death in August 2013, and the Obama administration considered punitive measures for this war crime, and yeah, it's a war crime. Like, I know a lot of people out there, they use the term war crime to refer to like people like John Bolton and George Bush and stuff, and it's like, no, there are actual war crimes.
Yeah.
Considered punitive measures for this war crime. New CDU chief and possible next German chancellor, Armin Laschet, asked, does Obama want to fight Assad alongside Al-Qaeda now? He did the meme. He actually did the meme. He actually did the meme. And that meme is something that Tulsi and Jimmy and Kyle always do, which is, if you go in to fight Assad, you're going to help Al-Qaeda. You're just doing it because you're aiding and funding Al-Qaeda, man. And you don't get it. Assad's fighting Al-Qaeda. Assad's fighting ISIS, bro. There is an implication here, of course, that one, any humanitarian intervention is by definition pro-Al-Qaeda, which is stupid because, of course, you're the world's superpower. You can fight both. And two, this idea that, but you don't understand, like, that Al-Qaeda did the gassing as a false flag to make Assad look bad. That's the big meme. Yeah. I got news, dudes. You didn't need to gas kids to make Assad look bad. Dude was already a butcher. Dude was already an animal. That's so redundant. That's so excessive. That's so superfluous. It's like, oh yeah, that school shooter that killed 86 kids. It's like, in court, they go to court, and the whole defense case rests upon arguing that one of the kids killed himself, and the rest were all like, he just randomly happened to kill himself that day. And the other 85, oh yeah, like our client totally killed those guys. He shot them up. But like that one dude that you're claiming here in the counts that he killed, no. That was independent. That was a random suicide that happened. And they're like, yeah, but what about the other 85 kids? Like, so you're saying that your client's guilty as fuck on those charges? And they're like, oh yeah, but like this one, he didn't do anything wrong. That's like this with the case of killing 1,300 people with chemical weapons. It's like, okay, even if that wasn't true, how does that change the fact that Assad burned the country down and killed upwards of 500,000 people with conventional weapons to hold on to power? It's disgusting. So he does the meme there, and of course he implies that if Obama did anything about it, it would by definition make him fighting alongside Al-Qaeda, which, by the way, by that definition, you could say, by the way, oh, you want to do something about Hitler invading Poland? What, you want to fight alongside the communists? It's the same logic.
And
right?
and the meme goes even on. He's also saying the UN hasn't even completed its investigation.
Oh, my UN, but the UN, bro.
Yes.
Okay. When the Assad regime gassed another 49 humans to death in April 2018, Laschet blamed the Islamic State for the attack without any evidence. And there he is. The Islamic State, which controlled the terrorist Emri from Syria, still seems to be active. Similarly, had differentiated, let's see, poison gas is despicable no matter who uses it. The problem with that is that Assad was the one who used it. So, what?
Yeah, this is completely insane. And, we have this in the subtweet, which he's quoting, is Uli Gag, who on public broadcast in Germany questioned the origin of the chemical gas attack. And of course, this was debunked by the OPCW even.
Yeah, even the UN's own organization. That's the thing that's amazing is it's like, even the UN, we make fun of the UN all the time. Even the UN's own organization was like, nah, dude's guilty, bro. Same with Iran. I've got all kinds of people saying like, oh yeah, but like, you don't understand, like, we need like negotiations and like, let's just trust them and everything. And I'm like, even the UN's own IAEA is like, yeah, they violated the deal. They have 12 times the allotted permitted levels of low enriched uranium. Not to mention, we weren't allowed to inspect most of the facilities. And even when we were allowed to inspect, they told us we couldn't go certain places. And they still were able to find 12 times what they were allowed. So, they probably have a lot more than that. And people are like, now what? They're going to dismiss that as neocon propaganda? What? I mean, I know some people out there, some people in the Jimmy Dore crowd think that the UN is a puppet of the United States, which I'm like, I wish the United Nations was a puppet of the United States. That'd be big. It's like when these people accuse America of being imperialist. I'm like, if America was imperialist, they'd be taking out Assad and Iran and North Korea and everything, Like, okay, we can move on though. More quotes by him. Oh man, so this is referring to Laschet. And there's Sputnik, huge meme. That is okay. People who read Sputnik News, unironically, they haven't showered in 3 weeks and they haven't shaved their beard in 3 years. Those are the types of people who read Sputnik News, unironically. More quotes by him. Quote, "We will need Assad," unquote. Yeah, no, we won't. No. Wrong again, dude. Wrong again. Wrong again, Armin. Okay. 2015. In 2016 said, quote, "It is good that Putin participates in Syria," unquote. And like, that's such a stupid, like, it's such a clunky way of phrasing it too. It's not just like, oh, Putin's maybe like a lesser evil in Syria because like there's ISIS and stuff. No, he just says straight up like, no, it's good that he's there. It's good that he's there. What's he doing there? Oh, that's right. Dropping barrel bombs on civilian areas to terrorize the population at large into submission. And yeah, does he kill some terrorists in the process? For sure. If you bomb a city to smithereens, were 8 of those 100,000 people terrorists? Maybe. It's good that Putin participates in Syria. Okay, let's say instead of 2016. Let's say instead it was let's say it was 1939. It is good that Hitler participates in Poland. Or in 2015, let's say it was 1938. We will lead Mussolini or something. Like this is the thing. Like, because I want people to understand. I know that people are going to say, oh, that's hyperbolic or whatever. No. These people, Assad and Kim, they are like the Hitler and Mussolini of our time. I mean, they are like this idea that we can just separate ourselves from the past and horrible things happened in the past, but everything's better now is delusional. We still live in a world divided between freedom and slavery. Let's continue. Says,
and it's by the way, it's so funny. It's the raison d'etat in Germany is never again, you know, and they let people gas them anyway. So we will need them, sure.
Yeah, we will need Assad. That's a big meme right there. Says, quote, we will have to get away from the idea of regime change.
Boy.
Wow. Quote, it sounds like Tulsi Gabbard. Quote, it was wrong from the start to see only the Arab Spring in Syria. In other words, oh, you think they're fighting for democracy? Oh, you're gullible. You think they care about bread and democracy? No. Here's why the Syrian people are rising up against Assad, because they're all ISIS and Al Qaeda, and they're funded by the CIA, bro. Yeah. That's actually what Jimmy. That's actually what he believes, or at least he claims to believe. That's actually what he tells his audience. That's actually what this guy says. That's what he does. These guys get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to cover foreign policy. These guys' Patreon is over 100 times this channel's size, and yet they know nothing. They're either deluded or they're lying. They're either clueless or they're lying. And my guess is they're lying. They have to know better. At least in Kyle's case, you can make an argument. Me, he genuinely is that stupid. Jimmy knows what he's doing. He bought a $2 million house recently with all that blood money. But says, quote, we have to re-enter into, and this is ironic, a stronger dialogue with Russia. So when he says strong, he means weak. What do you mean strong? We have to simp stronger with Russia? What does that mean? What does that mean? How is that strong? How is that strong? Stronger dialogue? No. That sounds like something Trump would say. Like, oh yeah, we're looking really strongly at these papers. It's like, how do you look at something strongly? What? We need to re-enter into a stronger dialogue? Yeah, but you're not. He doesn't mean, okay, we're going to go in there like Ronald Reagan and say, tear down this wall and you're going to do what we want. Otherwise, we're going to do tariffs or something, or we're going to allow the U.S. to station nukes in our territory. No, when Laschet says stronger, he means be weak to Putin. That's what he means.
Like get Russia back into G8 and what's now G7. So
it's like
sanctions. Yeah.
It's like 1984. Like ignorance is what is it? Like ignorance is knowledge. Strength is weakness. Weakness is strength. Like the words don't have any meaning anymore. Stronger dialogue. It's like we're not simping enough. We need to simp stronger for Putin. Wow. And we're not even done. Okay, Julian continues. One of my favorites by our lightning next chancellor. Yeah, this one was amazing. Hashtag no ducking joke. Okay. John Kerry. Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant must be destroyed, will be crushed. Armin Laschet responds. He responds to John Kerry. I don't like John Kerry. I don't like
him. But that's a base statement.
We're not fans of John Kerry, but that's such a benign and agreeable statement that like you don't need to make, like, if I see that, I'm not going to respond to John Kerry and be like, you oppose the war to Iraq or whatever. I'm going to be like, okay, at least he's trying to do the right thing right now. And he's got a benign statement about fighting ISIS that everybody, even Russia, should agree with. And yet, like even Lavrov should agree with this statement. Even the Russians should agree with this. This is the most neutral thing. Like, if you're taking offense to that statement that ISIL must be destroyed, there's something wrong with you. Even the Russian foreign minister would have to like that. But Armin comes in. Yes, Mr. Kerry, but you supported ISIS. Yes, citation needed. And al-Nusra, citation needed again. Against President Assad. By the way, President Assad? No, just call him Bashar the Butcher, or at least call him Assad. President Assad? The dude is the leader of the country because his daddy, who was unelected, gave him the position in Syria. And they are financed by Qatar and Saudi Arabia, which, okay, this is before the Qatar and Saudi Arabia split and whatnot. I got news for those watching right now. Well, the Hawks know this, but to all the new subs and everything, if you think Saudi Arabia is funding ISIS, that's like saying that Canada is fighting ISIS, because there were specific Canadians that did go over to join ISIS, and yeah, they took their savings with them and used it to help ISIS fight. Does that mean that Canada's culpable in that? Likewise with Saudi Arabia. Are there Saudis that have given money or gone to fight with ISIS? Yes. Does the House of Saud support ISIS? What? That's like saying that they support Al Qaeda. It's like they've been at war with Al Qaeda for decades. What? Al Qaeda wants to destroy Saudi Arabia.
And by the way, what's this for a slanderous statement for becoming chancellor to say that the US is supporting ISIS?
Oh, it's Kerry. Like, again, this isn't some random Twitter troll on there. Like, if I was John Kerry, I would actually sue this guy for libel, for defamation of character. Because he's implying there that Kerry supported ISIS and Al-Nusra. But that's patently not true. Like, John Kerry's attorney should have contacted this guy with a cease and desist letter saying, look, if you continue to spread this, you either take this down or we're going to have our day in court. And that's not a free speech thing. You don't get to slander people. And if it turns out that Mr. Laschet is telling the truth, then it would stand up in court. But it wouldn't stand up in court because he's pulling this out of his ass to slander John Kerry. By the way, you don't need to accuse him of supporting ISIS to make John Kerry look bad. John Kerry opposed the Iraq War. That's all you need to say, and he already looks bad. So there you go. He's already made himself look bad. That's kind of like, you don't really need to prove that Assad gassed people to make him look bad. Dude's already bad. But in Laschet's guy, he says, case, we will need Assad. We will need Assad. That's like, we will need Hirohito. We will need him. We will need Mao. What? Okay, we're not even done. Yulian continues. After the United Kingdom scientifically proved the Novichok that poisoned Sergei Skripal came from Russia, and Germany announced sanctions against Russia. Okay, well, yeah, that sounds great.
That's good.
Laschet wrote, quote, again, this isn't fake. This is a thing. This guy's going to be the leader of Germany. This is what he feels. He said, quote, if you forced almost all NATO countries to show solidarity, should you not have reliable evidence? What? So, in other words, you could prove, as much as you could prove the sky was blue and gravity exists and the earth is round, as much as you can prove all that, he would say, yeah, but you need reliable evidence, man. In other words, if Putin doesn't like it, it's not reliable evidence. This is embarrassing. So this raises the question, is he actually getting money from the Kremlin and the Lubyanka? Or is he just a useful idiot?
Yeah. I don't know. It could be both.
Because I don't think the GRU or anything actually pays Kyle to say what he says. Like, people have speculated, well, the Russians pay him. It's like, no, he'd do it for free. They're poor. They're not going to waste money on somebody that's going to carry water for them anyway. Jimmy's already received money from the Syrian state, but in this case with this guy, I don't know, because he's either coming across as an angsty 14-year-old who wants to be edgy and watches all the Russian stuff and thinks like, oh yeah, but Putin, he's like the base savior, bro, or he's getting paid, or he expects to be paid, like you said before. Me, he expects a cushy job at Gazprom. Wow, that's embarrassing for another reason, which is that he could have gotten a cushy job at a German company. There are big companies in Germany that you could go and work for. Yeah. Like, it's not like Germany's like super, super, super poor, and the only way you could get a good job is to be corrupt and then go and get a job in Russia. Russia's poorer than Germany. Not even like across the board in every measure they're poorer than Germany.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
And we got corruption here where you can get cushy jobs anyway. So
no, but he wants the Russian jobs.
Yes.
Wow. So that might be one of the new leaders of the G7 going forward. What the fuck is happening, dude? What? It's as if Tulsi with Jimmy Dore characteristics became the head of the Christian Democratic Union. That's amazing. Wow, that's the kind of stuff that somebody who not just casually watches Jimmy Dore. Like I used to watch Jimmy because I used to think that he was actually, some of his jokes were funny back in the day. But that's like somebody who just watches him with a passion, like the kind of people that type in Jimmy Dore every few hours into YouTube and search for last hour to see if he's uploaded, and they're disappointed because he hasn't uploaded, but they see, oh, Superpower Broadcasting's got a video on Jimmy. I wonder who he is. I mean, he's a Jimmy fan. And then they hear Neckbeard Jimmy.
Dislike. I have to press dislike now.
like those Jimmy videos. Like if I go to the Jimmy video right now, because I use the thumbnails that you made for that, they're pretty good. 2 of those Jimmy videos from the last month are like my most popular videos ever already. This one here, Progressive War, Jimmy Dore calls Anna Kasparian pro-war. 22 likes. Okay, Hot Gang showed up, based. 61 dislikes, 633 views. And one of the comments here is, I am sure you threw your entire 414 audience share into taking Tulsi or whatever. And there's another one here. Wyatt says, Jimothy must be on something. I got to kick out a Jimothy. Somebody says West Time because he didn't put the E on it. Another one is Suzuki says, Neckbeard Jimmy is a menace to society. And then Imprisoned Grover Fur says, Jimmy is what you get when you combine 1960s New Left pacifism with Alex Jones type tinfoil hattery, which is great because some of the stuff that Laschet is saying sounds like Alex Jones with that Tim Pot hat, like the aliens and like the lizard people, man, and the Babylonians and stuff, and like they're all working together at like the Nazca lines to realign the chakras, man. Except like the CIA, they want to stop it, man. That's what this guy sounds like. I mean, I know he's a boomer and he's got like gray hair and stuff, but he sounds like well, actually maybe his hair's not that gray, but he sounds like an angsty teenage kid who just read like the Celestine Prophecy or whatever, and it's all like, oh, like there's this new age stuff, man, and it's like maybe the CIA is gonna try to disalign the chakras, bro, so that they can make money for Halliburton. What a goofball. I mean, this guy's parents must be so proud, by the way. Like that's him there with his friends, right? His parents, they must be so proud. Like look at this. Look at his face, dude. He's just like, oh yeah, Russia good. USA bad.
Oh, funny thing, he's by the way a direct descendant from Charlemagne, from Karl der Große.
Oh man. Oh my god, dude. Well, that's a little taste of Armin Laschet right there.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I want to go to the audience. What do you guys think of this guy? What do you guys think? Are you excited? Germany's going to have a new leader? Oh, man. Let's see. PJ says, Europe is screwed if these are the leaders that they choose.
Yep.
Freak says, yo, Timothy.
Yo, Freak.
Pessimist says, Konrad Adenauer is rolling in his grave.
Yeah.
Round and Brown says we should have disbanded Germany as a nation after World War II. The Mexican native says, "What's up, bro?" Okay, so I got to ask you then, Timothy, because I personally believe that there's going to be a neocon renaissance in the United States and as a byproduct in Canada too. Do you think it'll happen in Germany as well? Or do you think that this is like a long-term problem?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Yeah, it's we have such a different heritage of conservatism compared to the United States or Canada. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Yeah, not
Okay.
anyway soon.
Well, if you could elaborate on that, because I've looked at a little bit in the CDU in the past, but what, because the term Christian democracy does get thrown around a bit. People have characterized Viktor Orban's basically proto or at this point basically de facto fascist regime in Hungary as Christian democratic, but obviously the German version of Christian democracy is a lot more sort of liberal. But what would you say is kind of what more or less what German conservatism looks like, and maybe if you could go into a little bit about what Christian democracy means in the German interpretation?
Yeah, so it's kind of difficult. We had in Germany a long history of infight between evangelical Christian and Catholic Christians, and the CDU was the first party that united both confessions under one party. So this is something new, and like compared to US, where you have a strong separation of state and church.
Mm-hmm.
In Germany, it's not so much the case, and we basically have to pay back the church for the things that we took as the state gets more secular. It's hard to describe, and
Interesting.
yeah, and we don't have like this fusionism like in America, where you have a combination of libertarian and conservative ideas. This is very separate. We don't have really much a strong libertarian influence in our history. It's very statist, if you can coin it that way. Yeah, it's very different from the US. So
Right.
and Viktor Orban, for example, he's more like a traditionalist, and they are still under the same European party, the EPP. It's the CDU often gets criticized for working together with Orban because, of course, the German conservatives, if you can call them, at this point they aren't really. They get blamed because they work together with Orban because he's more right wing, and it's so tough to describe it.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because a lot of people here in the West, or not in the West, but like in North America, they kind of have this impression that Poland's super far right and going in a very bad direction, but that Germany's like this rational sort of thing and all that, and that they're like more liberal and whatnot. When in reality, Poland has a conservative government that's very anti-Russia. Hungary has a conservative government that's in love with Russia. And Germany has a less conservative government that's also in love with Russia. And if you ask me, which of those would you rather have? I'd rather have conservative government that's anti-Russia. Like, that's my view. Like, but
I see the need for the peace party. This is the party in Poland, but there are some quite concerning things going on there with the constitutional judges and the media. That they switched the whole editors out to be more pro-government, and they have also some free speech issues, like with blasphemy laws and something. So it's there's still something to be skeptical about. But from German perspective, it's too negative compared to the reality what's going on in Poland. Yeah.
Well, I also find the coziness with Orban to be disingenuous in that sense, because I consider Orban to be far worse than anything happening in Poland.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, And so in that sense, I see it as kind of a bit like of a sort of disingenuous virtue signal against Poland if you're going to be kind of cozy with Hungary and with Russia. But I think on the angle, though, of just kind of German conservatism and everything, you mentioned how the CDU had kind of joined as an alliance between the Protestant and the Catholic side of things. That was probably pretty difficult to actually do. I mean, there have been long wars in Europe between Protestants and Catholics and everything. How effective is that union, or is there still a lot of tension within the CDU between the two sort of camps or sects of Christianity?
Yeah, so the since the reunification, it's all got blended out a bit, because the former GDR states were all atheistic because of their communist indoctrination, and in Bavaria you have a strong Catholic background. In North Rhine-Westphalia you got certain areas that is strong Catholic, and for the other parts it's mostly Protestant. But nowadays the society is so moving towards atheism, so it's not a big issue at all anymore. It's not even comparable to United States, where Christianity is still important. It's I mean, only old people here go to churches, and it's not really an issue anymore.
Yeah, no, that's kind of interesting in that sense, for sure. I think that America is definitely a lot more sort of engaged in terms of religiosity. What I think, though, is that America, though, definitely has a more secular understanding of the role of religion in society than what a lot of states in Europe have, where there isn't that formally drawn separation of church and state. But as far as the sort of the perspective of the CDU goes, and Christian democracy, as I understood, as a movement, more comes out of the Protestant side of things, though, right?
Yes.
Than the Catholic side, because Catholicism leans more towards like distributism and almost like quasi like more sort of socialistic, except that I guess Christian democracy can be kind of considered to be somewhat left-wing economically, like not like Nazbully, but it is kind of, I guess, like a socially conservative,
like compassionate conservatism, if you could call it like this.
Kind of like people call like neoconservatism tends to get called or lumped into the branch of compassionate conservatism, but it really kind of depends on what sort of compassion you're talking about. But because there's a difference between having a safety net and that kind of stuff versus a full welfare state. Yet, to my understanding, and maybe I'm wrong here, but the CDU does support welfare statism, though, doesn't it?
Yes, and it's especially like in the last coalitions with Merkel, where she basically brought out all the social democratic agenda points in the party and in the whole policy making. So welfare states gets even bigger and bigger, and it's you have to compare it for like how much taxes you have to pay here in Germany. It's insane compared to Canada or US. It's the second highest tax rate in the world after Belgium.
Yikes. What kind of average tax rates are we talking? Because it feels stifling in Canada, to be honest, but you're totally right, they can be way worse. But what are we talking?
I think for family with 2 children, it's like about 40%.
Yeah, you can be similar in Canada. Like the average Canadian middle class pays about 42% in taxes, which is embarrassing. Like, I mean, there's a reason down the road I do want to move to the United States, and specifically either Texas or Florida, so that I can have lower expenses, lower cost of living, and do this channel full time faster, you know? Because if you all your money goes to taxes, kind of hard to really get anywhere. I mean, the only way, I mean, 42%, 40 plus percent in taxes is something that like even people that make $1 million a year shouldn't have to pay, in my view, personally. Like, I don't know, maybe that's a little bit radical. I know some people support like way higher taxes on like higher income people and stuff like that. My view of it is that working class people shouldn't even really pay taxes, and then it goes up from there. I think the fact that people that make under $20,000 a year in Canada get taxed, for example, at about 15%, so that they can pay welfare for those that are even poorer than them that don't even work, is a complete embarrassment. It's a national embarrassment, just like Trudeau and the whole CURB program and everything that's gone on, where basically people that can barely afford to make ends meet but that work full time pay so that people that are not working can stay at home and get paid. Like the welfare state here is very inefficient, very poorly designed, and there won't be anything done about it because we just simply don't have the means to be critical of our own institutions in that sense. Because I was talking to you before we went live about just how the main national media here is the CBC, and they're the media arm of the natural governing party, the party that's almost always in power, and that's the Liberal Party. And the Liberal Party, they're very corrupt. And unlike when Trump is corrupt in America, all the media calls him out on it. Even Fox News will often call him out on it. Here, when Trudeau's corrupt, the CBC is like, Trump did a bad thing today. And you're like, okay, but when are we going to talk about our leader and his latest corruption scam? Oh, we're not? Oh, okay. CBC having a normal one. Okay. Like, that's what I was saying. Like Daniel Boardman. We've had Daniel Boardman on the show before. I had a great interview with him discussing Trump and Iran. And, you know, he's a Trump supporter. And he was talking about how he made the case that Trump actually did a really good job in the Middle East. And I don't really disagree with him there. But he does a show uninterrupted with Daniel Boardman. And he calls out the CBC like all the time. He'll literally have segments where he'll just take the worst of the CBC that day so people don't have to watch them. And like you watch some of this stuff, you're like, okay, but my tax money is going to pay the people to make that. That's crazy. So we don't really have the institutions that we don't really have the self-critical capacity here to really reform our institutions in a way that would be more efficient. So unless something drastic happens here, we're going to continue down this road for a long time. I'm not a fan of welfare statism. I support a negative income tax as a replacement so that we can still have a safety net without the excessive bureaucracy. What do you think of welfare statism, though? Do you think that it's and that this high tax rate, do you think of it as a net burden on Germany, or do you think that it does work for Germany?
That's a tough question. I think the main problem is that people are already so dependent on it, and it's so in the culture. For example, like healthcare or something. It's unimaginable that you have to pay. For example, the American model. People would freak out if they get loss of this social security net, but they don't see, that they have to pay less and something like that. They don't see the whole picture. There's only a debate about the rich are earning too much, and we have to save. We have to give the money to, the social justice movement. We have to financially bring justice via higher income taxes and something like this. I think.
Yikes!
Yeah, we can't change it so much, and I think it's okay. But I would prefer less of the social welfare state. But there's no political capital to change that anyway.
Yeah, no political capital. I guess that's what the term that I guess is most appropriate there. There's no political capital to do it. If anybody tried to run on that platform, it wouldn't really work for them. Yeah. And it's not even that a lot of people would even disagree with them. It's that people would have in their head, oh, this guy can't win. So they would just never even seriously consider supporting them. FKJMS73, another base patron of the channel, says, God help us, a successor more blue-pilled than Merkel. we got Henry here. Hey guys, what do we have here? Well, tonight we're going over the successor to Angela Merkel. That's Armin Laschet, and he is a very, very malfeasant and nefarious and repugnant dude. Now, just to catch you up, and we've got a lot more viewers now than we had when we were going over it. Here are just a couple special highlights of the cringe that he's posted in recent years. He's going to be the leader of Germany, and so let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. These are some highlights of quotes from him. Quotes from Laschet. Again, he's replacing Merkel, going to be the leader of Germany. Quote, "We will need Assad," unquote, 2015. 2016, "It is good that Putin participates in Syria." Quote, "We have to get away from the idea of regime change," unquote. So he's basically the anti-me. He says, quote, "It was wrong from the start to only see the Arab Spring in Syria," unquote. He says, quote, "We have to re-enter into a stronger dialogue with Russia," unquote. 2019. It's very recent. And of course, I pointed out there, stronger dialogue with Russia. In other words, we need to simp stronger. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? That's an oxymoron. Stronger dialogue with Russia. No, by definition, it's weak if you're in dialogue with Russia. That's him there hanging out with some of his Islamist buddies. We'll get the one on this. No, it was the Kerry one. I want to go to the Kerry one. Yeah, because this is Julian Rapka here, says, "One of my favorites by our lightning next chancellor. Hashtag no ducking joke." John Kerry tweets out August 20th, 2014, "ISIL must be destroyed, will be crushed." And Armin chimes in and says, "Yes, Mr. Kerry, but you supported ISIS and al-Nusra against President Assad in Syria. And they are fighting against Qatar and Saudi Arabia," unquote. So he's basically neckbeard Jimmy Dore. He's basically this guy. That's basically, imagine if Jimmy Dore became the leader of Germany. Unironically, that's what's happening right now. Yeah. And so Henry's responded, "How did Germany end up with that dude? Looks bad for them in the world." Yeah. So there's also a great one here. This is the initial one by Julian Rapka. I like this. "Breaking. Extremely good news for Russia, China." And again, he ain't referring to the true China. He ain't referring to Taipei. He's referring to Winnie the Pooh's China. Nord Stream 2, and the Assad regime. Armin Laschet was elected new leader of the Christian Democratic Union and is likely to become Germany's next chancellor later this year. So CDU, that's Merkel's party. And yes, again, I love it. I love it how he throws this in. This is actual journalism, because it would be enough for him to just say that and it's all matter of fact and everything. I love how he throws in his opinion and just keeps it real. And he's like, with him as leader, Germany, Europe, and the West are screwed. And that's him there getting cozy with Lavrov. That's him there. Oh, man. Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, isn't Merkel, along Kelsey says, isn't Merkel's successor a Assadist? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No. He literally said, quote, "We will need Assad." He said he opposes regime change. We need to move past the idea of considering regime change, bro. FKJMS says, "Neckbeard Jimmy Dore, lol." No. Imagine, like I talk about how Moon Jae-in is Korean Tulsi. Armin Laschet, German Tulsi. Like, imagine Tulsi Gabbard became the chancellor of Germany. That's basically what this guy is. That's basically what this guy's going to be. That's a complete national disgrace. Total disgrace. Freak says, "The base and delegates of CDU disagreed." Wait, well, didn't you say, Timothy, that the delegates actually did pass their support to him in the end?
No, the base hasn't any say in it. Only the delegates decide who gets the successor for the party leader. And the base, there were pollings, and 60% of the base were in favor of the conservative guy. And all the delegates, no, not all, but most of them went to the establishment candidate, Armin Laschet. So they supported the Assadist against the will of the base. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you say establishment, like this guy was basically Merkel's prodigy, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like basically he's a big follower of Merkel's way, except takes it to its logical conclusion. Because even Merkel wasn't this deranged. This is like I said, this is embarrassing. I mean, what kind of words? Because we got pictures of him hanging out with like these guys. So
Neo-fascists from the Grey Wolves of Turkey.
The Grey Wolves. These guys are the most radical fascists in Turkey. They're more radical than Erdogan in a sense. They go out and do assassinations of politicians, even when they're giving speeches and stuff. That's him here. Julian says, when the Assad regime gassed 1,300 humans to death in 2013, and the Obama administration considered punitive measures for this war crime, new CDU chief and possible next German chancellor Armin Laschet asked, quote, does Obama want to fight Assad alongside Al-Qaeda now, unquote. Or rather, if I'm actually going to do justice to it, does Obama want to fight Assad alongside Al-Qaeda now? Because he's a member of the Brainlet Brigades. He's a member of the Brainlet Brigades. He's like this guy. It's like this guy right here. It's like her. It's basically Korean Tulsi or German Tulsi. He thinks Saddam dying was probably a great tragedy of history, right? He's one of these guys consoling Nasrallah. He's one of these guys right there.
Yeah.
Consoling the Ayatollah over the death of Mohsen Fakhrizadeh. He doesn't like this guy very much.
No.
Doesn't like this guy very much. Probably a big fan of these guys, though.
Oh yeah,
that's
definitely.
by Timothy. I love how like all I had to do was basically ask like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do a video on Kremlin Kyle and KGB Crystal's new show. Would you mind making a thumbnail of them looking like a bunch of brainlets with like Putin and stuff? Boom. There we go. It's perfect. It's perfect. I showed that to Reese. Reese got such a kick out of it, dude. Oh man, dude. Oh man. We got FKJMS 73 says, I've been saying a lot already. All right.
Ironically, I would never thought that I would say that I
yes
maybe will be missing Angela Merkel. Oh my god, I did say it.
Oh my god, dude. it's like I'm basically thinking like right now, like what in 2 years am I gonna be saying like, ah shit, I miss Justin Trudeau. What's gonna happen? Like what's gonna happen? Well, Henry says, damn Kevin with the memes. I didn't make all those. Timothy made a bunch of these. Timothy made this one, this one, this one. Kanzik made that one. That one's from Timothy's one. Kanzik made this. Kanzik made this. Timothy made this. That's Kremlin Kyle. That's our friend right there. Arthur made this. And I made this one right here. So I also made this one too. I wish that Bolton would just go in there and say to Laschet, like, you're done. You're done. You're done. You don't get to be the leader, dude. Like what? Like amazing. Oh my god. Yeah, kick them out of NATO. Wait, what are his thoughts on Erdogan? Oh, well Timothy could probably go over that a little bit. Is this guy pro or anti-Erdogan? What does he think of Erdogan?
I think he doesn't want Turkey to join the EU, but he's so Merkel made this deal where they subsidized Turkey in order to keep the refugees in Turkey, and I think Laschet just wants to keep in her footpath. Is this right? Yeah, he wants to stay in her path. Yeah.
Xavier Morales says, "I like the CAC." That's
regarding Turkey. On one convention day for the youth party, he literally verbatim brought a Erdogan talking point regarding the PKK, this left-wing
Kurdish. Let me guess. Kurdistan is a terrorist organization, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Like the
Verbatim,
Kurds.
he brought his talking points.
No, I don't get it. I don't get it. What is it with like all these people? Like I have friends and stuff that say like, look, we can't be too tough on Turkey, otherwise it's just throwing them completely to Russia and everything. They all think that we should just abandon the Kurds. They don't think of the Kurds as a useful ally. I'm like, what? The Kurds and Israel are the two biggest, well, and Saudi Arabia they're like the biggest allies of America in the Middle East. What? We're just gonna throw the Turks to the wolves, literally. With Armin's friends, we're just gonna throw them to the wolves. What? To save our relationship with Turkey? To hell with Turkey. Bump that, dude. Turkey's gone down a very dark path. American Madhouse says we need to liberate Germany again. They got any oil? Where's oil? You guys have olive oil there, right? For olive oil. It's like all the wars in the Middle East, they were just for olive oil, man. Like the Mediterranean food and stuff. Right?
Yeah, it's,
they had olive oil in Libya, right?
Cold pressed olive oil. Mm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Global Affairs, Anthony Roberto. I'm pretty sure he came up with the wars for olive oil meme. That's a banger. That's a total banger. Like every time I hear one of these brainlets say like it's a war for oil, I'm like, well, I like olive oil. We should probably go and get some. Like imagine trying to have Greek salad without any olive oil.
Yeah,
come on, dude. Come on, dude. What are you talking about? Imagine trying to have like good artisan pizza, no olive oil, dude. What are you doing? Obviously, you gotta go to war for olive oil. Oh man, yeah. So we got some new viewers and everything tonight. We got 18 on YouTube, one on Twitch right now. Very cool, very cool. Let's see. Freak says all three candidates weren't based at all on foreign policy. Although Laschet is the worst. Well, it's like what Timothy said earlier.
Yeah,
you can't really have much of a foreign policy in terms of like what we talk about. If you're
like. To go on this point, like Norbert Röttgen, for example, he was a realist. He criticized the anti-BDS resolution of the Bundestag, so that's a big yikes.
Oh,
and even the conservative one, Merz, was a bit weird how he was a bit praising, not really praising, but saying kind words to Russia, and we have to get along and stuff like this, where it's, oh God, please. Why can't we have someone with a backbone? like
want to be friends? Let's just get along. Get along. It's like, oh, you kill journalists, we don't. Let's just get along. Let's just get along. We're like the same country, man. Let's just get along, bro. Let's just get along. Like, why wouldn't you want to get along with Putin? Why wouldn't you want to get along with Putin? I mean, these guys get along with Putin. That's him right there. The guy on this portrait right there. Look at him. He's looking all Chad and he's fuming and dooming right there. I like how he's actually looking at Kyle too. Like, why are you so stupid? Why can't we have smart people shilling for us? Oh man. Yeah. So this kind of leads me to my next question then, Timothy, which is like, do you think the EU is a net negative or net positive? Because lately I've been feeling that they're a net negative, but what's your view?
Wow. Okay, that's a difficult issue. But to be frank, lately, so for inner Europe, it's kind of a positive, but for the outside world, it's, when is Europe united? When it goes to JCPOA or something bullshit like this. We don't want multilateralism going to shill for dictators. We don't want that. Or the latest thing with the trade agreement with China.
Yeah,
this is not something where I want to see Europe work together. Yeah. It's the opposite of it.
No. It would actually be better if it was separate countries, because then the United States would have more leverage over it.
It would be the national hegemony over the countries. But yeah.
Yeah. We got one of these sock accounts, not my sock, but one of the guys, one of the fans of the show, he's got some different accounts like Wyoming Weiss and stuff. says, "Where's Kraut?" I actually did send Kraut an invite. I'll just send him a message again and let him know we're actually talking about Germany. So Kraut's been on before. I like Kraut. Timothy, you ever watched Kraut before?
Yeah, sure. I was on him on a Discord server quite time ago.
Oh man, no, that's cool.
But
That's cool.
he lives in Austria right now, right?
Well, the last I checked, he was in Vienna, but yeah, I'm not sure where he is right now. Like, I don't want to dox him or anything, but like he posted that publicly. But
yeah, but his quality of his videos improved so much. It's insane. Yeah, it's got so much better.
I've only seen the last 2 years worth. They're all good. They're all good. Like, I mean, I love the one where he's like, just a meme. It's just a meme. Just a meme. Like with all the Pepes and stuff in the background. That one was funny. I like the ones that he's done on Russia. I did like the one with the US and China. The quality of his stuff has definitely gone up big time. I like how, he's taking, like, I think he said a third of the Patreon revenue right now and giving it to the artists of his channel. And by the way, as a heads up, I've actually been able to compensate Arthur for some of the graphics, because he's doing graphics for for the music channel. He's done the graphics for this channel, and he's doing the graphics for the film channel. So we're paying him for that now with some of the patron money. So Arthur, back in the early days, did a lot of the graphics and stuff for free. But I'm going to be doing this channel for like 50 years, like I said before. And as long as Arthur wants to be the go-to graphics design guy, we're always going to have commissions for Arthur that each month going forward if he wants to work. So, because he's based. I mean, his stuff, like I said, Kyle or Arthur did this. That's my favorite part of it. You might say, oh, well, it's just Kyle looking goofy and stuff and everything. No, look at his graphic in the background. It's flatlining. I love that attention to detail. That's the thing that I look for in a memer is attention to detail, right? Like just that extra touch when you're like, oh yeah, no, this is a keeper. Yeah. This is a banger. He did this. These are some of the graphics for the gaming channel. I haven't had the time to actually figure out how to stream games because I can't do it through this streaming software. I have to figure out how to do it through OBS, and I'm a total and complete boomer. But we have lit graphics, and those will be coming out.
Insane.
He did this and everything, and of course he's got better versions and whatnot now. Some various different versions. He did this right here. That one's pretty good. And yeah, so there you go. So to all the patrons out there, the channel and everything, when you support the channel now, part of what you're doing is, compensating the graphics and everything from Arthur. And then we also, of course, have a lot of bills and everything to pay here. We just bought like a $1,700 computer in the latter part of last year so that I could actually do the streams properly and everything. Now we can totally game. I can get decent games at like 120 FPS. I just need to figure out how to stream them. But I'm totally down to stream games for you guys. Going to be doing the film channels for film reviews soon. Got the music channel. In fact, tomorrow I'm planning on actually filming a big batch of videos, and I'm going to do a music review video, I think, in the opening introduction for that channel. I've been getting some ideas from one of the patrons of the channel, Wyatt, for what I'm going to go over. I'm going to do a story on, and this is like, okay, you're going to have to see it to believe it, but Justin Trudeau and the winter coats with ISIS thing, that's totally embarrassing. We're gonna have one on the Muslim Brotherhood in Canada. There's a lot of videos I'm planning on doing. They're not all going to be about Canadian politics or anything. It's just some of the stuff that's been going on here. Again, you'd have to be like, how is this not like nonstop coverage still?
We talked this in private, like the one corruption story you talked about on the channel. Nothing in the German news, nothing in the mainstream media. What's going on there?
Oh, well, that's the thing, because the mainstream media in Canada is the CBC, and they are the media arm of Justin Trudeau's party. They're incredibly biased against the Conservatives, and they're biased against the NDP on the left too. They basically are there to carry water for Trudeau. And so when the next Trudeau happens, the next scandal happens, he's had like 3 prime scandals, like big scandals, like the kind that would sink a normal politician in America. He had the WE scandal. For example, when that happens, what does the CBC do? They don't even mention it. They don't even mention it to debunk it, to make the Conservatives look crazy or whatever. They ignore it, and they're like, okay, welcome to CBC News. Today is September 23rd, 2020, and the United States President Donald Trump just tweeted out something racist, basically. Like, okay, but when are we going to talk about the guy who signs your checks and what he just did as Prime Minister? When are we going to talk? Oh, we're not going to talk about it ever. Oh, okay. I see how it works. No, what a mess. Like, I mean, if you're going to have publicly funded news broadcasting and it's going to be the biggest news network in the country, at least have it be neutral. At least have something where they can't just be liberal propaganda. Yeah. Like, I mean, imagine if it was the NDP and it was just all NDP propaganda. Every time you tune in, it was just like, workers' solidarity, we must smash the capitalists and line up all the liberals against the wall for being fascists and stuff. And you're like, okay. It's like what? I mean, because the leader of the NDP here, I mean, our political spectrum is so crazy that even on the right with Aaron O'Toole, the newly elected conservative leader, he reaches out to the Muslim Brotherhood. So, like, there's no escaping it. There's no escaping it. Derek Sloan was the guy who was like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. If I'm in charge, we're done. All this is done. And he didn't win. But then you go to the NDP on the left. The leader of the NDP here, Jagmeet Singh, he unironically went and played video games. I think he played Among Us.
With Hamas, it was Hassan Piker.
With Hassan Guantanamo Bay Piker. And if that name, Hassan Guantanamo Bay Piker, rings a bell for you, he's the guy who 100% unironically said, and doubled down, said, quote, America deserved 9/11, unquote. He also said of Dan Crenshaw, Mujahideen soldier that blew his effing eye out. Brave Mujahideen soldier. By the way, he's a Stalinist. He's a communist. Hassan Piker. Hassan freaking Piker. That guy. Yeah. So Jagmeet Singh, the leader of what was once in Canada, just a few years ago, the second largest party, the official opposition, he's playing video games with Hassan Al-Qaeda swag Piker. That's amazing.
Where was the outrage? It's insane.
Well, there's no outrage. There was not even really any coverage. I mean, we talked about it here, but again,
I saw Riot writing about this, but
no, there is somewhere else that you can go. The National Telegraph, Wyatt's paper, they covered it. But did the CBC talk about no? But why? Because they'd be like, they don't even know who Hassan Piker is, and if they knew who he was, they'd say, oh, well, he's anti-Trump, so I guess he's good, right? I guess he's good. He's anti-Trump. So for Hassan Piker, I'm gonna bring it because we got a lot of new subscribers and everything. We actually have a fair bit of new subscribers recently. The biggest month-over-month growth in the history of this channel by far. I mean, we're up like 95% month per month right now, and we're just keeping going up. I'm going to actually get the video just to give you guys a brief introduction to who Hassan is. Timothy, you know Hassan, right? He's kind of a...
Sure.
Yeah.
Meme, basically. I mean, it's because English isn't my native language. I don't know.
That was his excuse because Uncle Cenk brought him on, sat him down, and Hassan looked all pouty, and he looked sad, and he's like, I'm ready to be playing Fortnite right now. And he's like, but instead I have to come on here live and talk with Uncle Cenk. And Cenk asked him, and Cenk's like, yeah, but he said America deserved 9/11. You just meant that American actions in the Middle East triggered it and stuff. And he's like, well, no, like English English is actually like my second language, dude. And like, it's amazing. He didn't even like commit to that, by the way. He said, well, maybe it's because English was my second language. He didn't,
Yeah.
well, maybe it was. Wait, what does that mean? Wait. What does that mean? That's almost as bad. Not quite as bad. Almost as bad as the school computer excuse. Oh yeah, wait. I can debate Kevin Castley in 3 weeks. I just need my school computer. That Ian Stevens, the guy who's tweeting on his iPhone 24/7. Oh, he can't debate. He needs his school computer. He needs his. Well, now in fairness, he didn't say school computer. He said actual computer equipment at school. But that's that's the meme. That's the meme. And what I love is how people on the left on Twitter think of this guy as a dirty grifter. People on the right on Twitter think of him as a dirty grifter. People in his former communities think of him as a feckless grifter. He's losing a lot of friends right now by having no principles. And a lot of people are realizing, why doesn't he come on here and debate? Well, he said that he would destroy me, call me an idiot, but I think the video is almost loaded. So we're going to be taking a look at a brief introduction to just what kind of character this Hassan figure is, because this is the type of guy that for a time, the leader of the official opposition party. Now, he wasn't the leader when they were the official opposition. That was Jack Layton, but he could, if the Conservatives totally bungle it. And with Aaron O'Toole, you say, color me surprised. Aaron O'Toole bungled the election. How did that happen? Oh, it turns out the Muslim Brotherhood and being weak and whatnot, it didn't really work out. It's possible that Jagmeet Singh might become the leader of the opposition at some point. This is the guy that he hangs out with. Let's take a look.
You're about to watch a special bonus video. That's fun, and it's gonna be really good. But if I let you see this video, I need you to do me a solid and sign up for an aspiration account. Okay, here's the video. Now don't screw me over. Promise you'll sign up. We got a deal, go.
I'm Hassan Piker, also known as Woke Bay, and I'm gonna do 2 minutes in heaven with Hassan Piker for Fantastic Friday. I know a lot of people have questions about what I like to do in my spare time, and hopefully I'll be able to answer some of that and make it seem like we're artificially on a first date or something. I guess my ideal date would be going somewhere where we just kind of eat fast food, get to hang out with one another, get to know the other person a little bit better. I don't really like flashy dates. I don't really like going to like really nice, expensive restaurants. I feel like that sets a terrible precedent, and also because I don't have that kind of money anyway. What's my biggest turnoff in a person? Being high maintenance. What got me started at the gym is that I used to be very fat, and I always wanted to lose the weight. I was always very self-conscious about my image. And then I finally came to Los Angeles and like everyone was super hot. What's my favorite mustache style that I've had? The Stalin, the tanky stash. It's just, it really upsets the right kinds of people that I would want to upset just by virtue of existing. What would I do as president for the day? Communism. 3 words to describe myself: balding, overworked, angry. What's my favorite thing about TYT? Ooh. How much everyone genuinely believes the stuff we talk about here, like how passionate people are. Otherwise, no one, and I mean no one, would be working the hours that we do for the pay that we get, okay? If people didn't genuinely believe in the message. 3 things I can't live without: my dog, fish, ice cream sandwiches, I guess my family. It'd be nice to have them. But definitely fish and ice cream sandwiches. Oh, Coke or Pepsi is not even a question. It's Coke. What? What is this? Another ridiculous question. 5 Guys. LA. Who is asking these questions? Cats or dogs? Dogs. Cats or cops? Oh my God. Basketball. 1000%. There's literally 10 minutes of action in every football game. For those of you who didn't know, it's disgusting. It's hyper-capitalism. I'm always sitting in these videos and it's always waist up. So people think that I have like a really small head and really wide shoulders. It's just because I have really wide shoulders, I have a really wide frame. And also because I'm sitting all the time, people assume that I'm like much shorter than I actually am. So without further ado, I'll show you what I'm wearing today, which is, you'll understand why I do it waist up after you see what I'm wearing. Okay, let's do it. This is what I look like. And this is my full frame. So that's why I don't, I just do like waist up. I just have the most boy shoes on. They're like Thrasher Vans. I like to dress like a Zoomer who likes to play Fortnite, even though I'm 28 years old.
My goodness, this feels like a stroke.
I have best described that video as a cavalcade of cringe. Like, you think, like, how is this continuing?
And then public channel from the TYT.
Oh yeah, that's TYT.
Oh my goodness! Oh my god!
Oh yeah, like they brought that out there, and they're like, oh yeah, you don't want to miss this one, and like check out our sponsor, aspiration.com. By the way, aspiration.com, more like AmericaDeserve911.com. It's like, what? Aspiration.com. Every time I hear that name, like, because they'll still pimp that stuff. They always do that. They're always like, and these are our sponsors and all this kind of stuff. And they're like, I'm on their mailing list just to see what they're up to. And they're always like, we're down $200,000 from the goal this month. And you're like, yeah, but dude, you guys got $20 million a couple years ago. What the hell? How are you down 200,000 this month? And why are you begging your working class deluded followers for their like $5 an extra month, like extra money that they have each month, so they can give it to you because you're going to tell them, oh, we'll give you like $15 minimum wage, bro, and like Americans deserve 9/11, man.
And wasn't the whole thing that his son got thrown out not because of this?
No. He didn't get fired. He was allowed
he wanted to start a union, right?
He wanted to start a union at Young Turks, and so Cenk was like
Progressive Network.
Oh yeah.
Unions.
Not just a progressive network, the home of progressive. Hashtag too strong. Hashtag TYT. Hashtag join. Yeah, that's what he's always like. Join on YouTube. $5 a month or whatever. Only members power the progressive home. TYT, too strong. And he's calling out Walmart. He's calling out Amazon. He's calling out all these companies for not being unionized. And then, but if you talk about unionizing Uncle Cenk, yeah, you're done. You're done, son. And so Cenk Uygur basically walked into Hassan's office. He was just like, "You're done. You're done." He fired him. Yeah, so at Young Turks, the home of progressives. If you say America deserved 9/11, you kind of you have some splaining to do, and you have to say like, yeah, maybe it was my second language and stuff, bro. And then you can go about your way and keep on doing your stuff, but if you even so much as talk about, even suggest the possibility of doing the U word, of unionizing, no, you don't know. Uncle Cenk's like, no, that would cut into our profit margins. They asked him, though. They're like, okay, but can't you see how this could be perceived as hypocritical, considering the fact that your network is always calling out other corporations for not having unions? And he said that, well, that's different because we're a small business just trying to make ends meet, and they're a big business at the same time as they brag about being the largest online news network. So which is it? Are you guys a small business, or are you the largest online news network? That's kind of like that's kind of like Trump when he's filing his taxes. He's like, I'm broke, I got no money. But then when he's running for president, he's like, I'm worth $10 billion. No, it's such a meme, dude. So again, I've had people that said, wait, he didn't get fired over the 9/11 stuff? No, he got fired. No, seriously, in the view of Cenk, it's not even close. Like, it's not even like a false equivalence or whatever. If you ask Cenk to pick, like, which is worse, saying America deserved 9/11 or talking with some coworkers about considering maybe the possibility of unionizing? Oh, it's not even close. 9/11, who cares about 9/11? The unions? You're going to try to make the home of progressives a unionized station? Get out of here, dude. You're done. You're fired. He fired him. Over that.
I mean, to be fair, how vile can his statements be if the show is literally called The Young Turks, who perpetrated the
I've said before, The Young Turks is the same as if you had a show called the Schutzstaffel, and instead of TYT hoodies, they had SS hoodies. And it was the Home of Progressives, and the guy who founded it, he's an American that immigrated from Germany in the 90s, and he's very proud of Germany. He thinks that, well, no, but like, you don't understand, like Germany's a very proud culture and stuff, bro. Like, this is what Cenk says about Turkey all the time. He's like, yeah, but like Turkey's kind of the best and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, Germany's kind of the best, but don't you dare think that in any way that he supports the National Socialist Workers Party or anything. He definitely doesn't support them. His co-host is Jewish. It's like Cenk denying the Armenian genocide, but Anna Kasparian's here. She's our token Armenian. You can't make it up, man. You can't make it up. Everything about that show is a total meme. You're like, wait, so the terrorist apologist gets fired not for terrorist apologetics, but for unions. But then you guys make fun of the other companies and call them out for not having unions. But then you also are the home of progressives, unless it's Turkey, that you're for Turkish nationalism and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I really don't see any difference, by the way, because the Young Turks, they killed like 1.5 million people. The Schutzstaffel, they killed a lot of people. It would literally be like if you had just, he's a Nazi, but like it's okay because like the co-host is Jewish. Would that make it okay? Would anybody think that network was okay? Like, you had a progressive network called the SS, and the guy's German, and he denies the Holocaust. That's the other angle too. Because
he said history of denying the Holocaust in this analogy.
Because that's the other angle I forgot to include. The analogy continues because Cenk formally was denying the Armenian genocide up until only a couple of years ago. He wrote articles being quote unquote skeptical, bro, about it. So it'd be like if you had a progressive station called the SS, the guy's German, denies the Holocaust, then after decades finally admits, like, yeah, it probably happened or whatever. But the co-host is Jewish. Would anybody give that network a pass? No, that network would be banned. That network would be off YouTube. That network would be run into the ground. But Young Turks, like, there are a lot of people that I've talked to. Like, I used to watch TYT for years, over a decade. I know a lot of people that watch Young Turks. They didn't even know what it was in reference to. They thought it was like, oh, well, like he started when he was young and he's Turkish. No. Just so that we're clear here, it's literally a reference to the Young Turks. It's not even like a coincidence. It's literally referring to the Young Turks. So
yeah, I mean,
they're young
Germany is well known, so
they're going to go out in the desert and march some Armenians to death.
Yeah. And the other thing about Hassan Paiko, I think, is so disgusting about him. Normally, without his uncle Cenk, he wouldn't even had a job there.
Uncle Cenk.
And he wouldn't even pitch his stuff on his Twitch channel. The other thing then, after they broke up, is with, I think he got big because of Destiny, this political streamer.
Yeah,
and they also got a beef with him. He's also not thankful for the opportunity he gave him. So, yeah, it's, I just can't stand the guy. It's, unbearable.
No. It's a big mess. It's a big disgrace. I mean, this whole thing that we're talking about with all these guys, what we got to understand is, like, these guys, they'll go out there, they'll get like 100,000 views a video to spew just absolute filth, lies, blatant slander against the United States, absolute apologetics for Kim. I mean, Hassan likes Kim. Hassan thinks that Kim is a great leader. So he thinks that Kim is fighting American imperialism and fascism and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I started this channel, was I'm like, no, somebody has to take these guys down. Like, if these guys are the voice of the youth, if these guys are the voice of the internet, like, we're screwed. We're not going to survive as a civilization. The Russians will overrun us. we won't have the wherewithal or the resolve to even stand up for ourselves. How can you stand up for yourself when you're celebrating and giving super chats to a guy who said that he thought it was good that terrorists attacked your country? His country too. He lives in America. That's the other thing that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, if I said what he said about 9/11, I wouldn't feel safe to walk around anywhere in the United States. I don't get it. Wow. We should probably wrap this up, though. It is kind of late where I am. I want to thank you for your time. Again, I thank you for the thumbnail and the speed with which you crafted that. Great work, my dude.
Always a pleasure.
Oh, man. And of course, thank you for your support over on Patreon and everything. With that, I'm going to give you the floor if you got anything to say, any closing remarks, and then we'll stream.
Yeah, let's hope that Merkel, oh my God, that I say this, maybe considers running again. Oh my God, I did say it.
Amen. Amen. Absolutely. Wow. Yeah, Pest says good night. Yeah. So thank you for watching, everybody. Be sure to follow Timothy over on Twitter at Timothy Spin. Is there anywhere else that the people can follow you?
Only on Twitter.
Okay. So on Twitter at Timothy Spin, and that's the at over there in the Chiron running below. So that, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. I do daily streams and daily premieres, thanks to the Patreon gang. Additionally, you can follow me over on Facebook, Twitch, Gab, and Minds, as well as Twitter at Kevin Castley. If you want to support my work, you can check out my Ko-Fi, my PayPal, as well as consider joining the Patreon gang over at patreon.com/superpowerbroadcasting. It's been great having you guys here tonight. There are probably more than 1 million other channels streaming on YouTube that you can check out, but you choose to spend your time here, and we appreciate that. Again, thanks to Timothy for coming on, and to his based memetics and memery. Very dank. So I will see you in the next video. Stay based, everybody. Take care.